Okay, so now we're going to start lettering the Ferromex locomotive. And so the first step of lettering is always to kind of break down, especially if you see something like the Ferromex where there's this arrow pointing on it, is to start breaking it down and make some very light lines. Well, the one thing you can see is you can see that this Ferromex, where the lettering goes, it's right underneath the grills. So start making a light guideline there. And then the bottom of the arrow is like right above the handrail. So right there, you have where the arrow goes pointing. That's how I start going about this. Okay. And then start looking for where the arrow points. Okay, it basically goes from the top of the dynamic brake right here to this part of the door. So you're going to want to draw to the edge of the doors here and then connect right over here. And then basically that means that you want to see if this part of the arrow stays true. And then what you want to do is you kind of want to put a little guideline right where the 2 points connect, like right down here, so that the arrow kind of has the same basic width. It comes together at a point. Then what it is, there's the green arrow in front of it. Goes right to just past the edge of these doors, and it goes up through the grills right there. Okay, there we go. And you kind of want to connect over the point. So basically you want to have you kind of establish the diagonal from this door to the top of the dynamic brake, and then you kind of want to keep this same diagonal going there, there, and there, and have it come to right through the center of your arrow. And then as I said, you kind of measure to the bottom of this and then have the same diagonal going there, there, and there. And then you basically kind of have the arrow. And then basically that makes the red arrow and then a little bit of the green arrow that goes in front of it. And then basically right here, this, where the word Ferromex goes, starts right at the middle grill and goes and a lot of times it's a good idea to not even put this next return one until you're done with your lettering, because your lettering may not quite end right where, and that way if you're a tiny bit off, it doesn't just scream out that your lettering ended a little bit short, or if you run out of room. Okay, so then the F is, the F and the X both have these where they're kind of these two parts. They kind of have a top half and a bottom half. It's kind of the style of the letter. It's something to kind of notice. And then the E. The rest of it, it's just mainly that it's in italic. It kind of has a slope to it. All of it does. But you just, lettering as much as the rest of the engine itself, you just want to study it, see what its shape is. Lettering is basically as important as the engine itself as far as getting the concept of the style of it, the shape of it. And here's, maybe move that E the tiniest bit. Then the X. X is probably, letters like X and A can be a little challenging when they're done in italic to kind of give them a slope. You kind of need the one leg to almost be standing up straight to kind of show that it's there we go. Okay. And then where we got it that far, then at this, you kind of, from there you put the other side of the, this is where it goes red and white and then red in the arrow where it says Ferromex. And then the engine number 3116, might as well put it in the number board. Then it says Ferromex just on the back. Now, I've maybe used this term for you before, but years ago I just started to call some of these almost ghost letters, where if you almost can't make them quite legible, because like right here where it says Ferrocarril Mexicano, trust me, if you start to write it out, compared to really like, it's pretty challenging to spell that out. Where I use the term ghost letter, like, do your best to like make a shape of an F. Don't like get all the detail of it in there. Like, letters have like a definite shape to them, where if you just stop and think about it, like just the shape of an F is very different than the shape of the capital M. Yet to kind of explain, I guess, where I'm coming from, if you get the essence of that F and the essence of the M, where you even really can't quite read it, and you'll be able to look at the drawing and say, whoa, that, it almost, you can almost start reading it. And a lot of times when there's little tiny letters, then there's the X on the nose, and again the Ferromex, and then the 3116. Do the 116. Move this one a little bit. Okay, and then just kind of see this. Okay, and just kind of a little bit of step cautions here on it. Oh, and actually, there's ditch lights on it. Okay, there we go. It's basically lettered. All right.